What is enlightenment? Enlightenment means two things. One, living totality along with knowing the totality, experiencing the totality. What is the difference between knowing the totality and experiencing the totality? Because enlightenment means when individual consciousness understands after merging, after realizing that every part is part of the whole, and living not only part but living whole as a whole, living totality all the time together, all together living totality, experiencing totality, knowing that there is no difference between individual consciousness and the unity consciousness. The consciousness, the energy, that unified field, which is the cause of the universe, which is running the universe, and which is the goal of the universe, where everything will merge, where from it emerged and where to it will merge. So this total circle, being enlivening this consciousness with the totality and experiencing it and knowing it, that is enlightenment. As soon as one is enlightened, one starts dwelling everything together, part as well as whole, integration of part and whole. It means individual self as well as the totality. One starts dwelling in this totality simultaneously. So this is something wonderful. And as soon as one is enlightened, then one starts behaving in absolutely different manner, because understanding changes completely. One goes beyond the boundaries. One starts living without the boundaries. And as soon as one expands itself to the infinity, then what happens? The perception changes. The subjects of talk changes. The subject of perception changes. The perception and perceived changes. Because at this stage, there is no perceptor, there is no perception, and there is nothing to be perceived. Everything comes in totality, that is called samhita level, and this knowing and process of knowing, knower, process of knowing, and the known. This is called Rishi, Devata, and Chandas. And when this duality is no more, when one goes beyond totality, that is called samhita level. That is totality, reverberating, living every part of totality in every part of totality. Every part lives in the whole, and everything of the whole starts reverberating in the part. So that is the individual consciousness and unity consciousness. That is the difference between Atma and Paramatma. When this is integrated, then the Atma merges into the Paramatma, that totality. And we can define it as drop merges into ocean. So we can call it in either way. Either the drop is no more, only ocean exists, or the drop has become the ocean. So similarly, when we say neti neti, or we say aham brahmasmi, or we say rasa vaisaha, whether we say that the Jeev and Brahm is two, it is not one, or we say neti neti, that nothing is there, or we say aham brahmasmi, that I am the totality. Everything, if we see anything in part, then only all these definitions will take place. This is Advait, Advaitadvait, Vishishtadvait, or whatever. So if we see everything in totality, then all the definitions, they start, vanishing. Because there is nothing to be defined, there is only totality. When we try to classify it, that this is one, or this is two, or this is not two, or this is singularity, or this is plurality, or this is non-duality, whatever. So because that is something which is beyond numerics. It is not numerical value. It is not the quantifiable status. It is not the status which can be quantified or qualified or qualitatively explained. It is beyond totality, beyond qualities, beyond quantity, whatever. So because that is the ultimate totality, so all the definitions, anybody who has experienced that knows that there is no definition at all which is possible to define that. So jana to tumhai hoi jai, it is simply being that, by being that, by becoming that, one realizes that. And that is the beautiful explanation, jana to tumhai hoi jai. And as soon as one knows that, one goes beyond all these definitions and intellectual expressions or explanations, because it can't be explained. It can't be. You can't qualitatively explain it. You can't explain it quantitatively, or there is nothing to explain. Because that is something which is beyond explanation, beyond all the qualities. So that is something which can't be classified in any class. So that is the something beautiful. Gunge keri sarkara, khai muskai. One can only enjoy, because that is beyond intellectual understanding, that is beyond the area of intellect. Because intellect try to dissect or analyze or synthesize or whatever. So because that is the matter of beyond intellectualism, that is the status, that is the stage which is beyond everything. So that is simply something which can be experienced, and one can only by experiencing one can become that. So if we try to explain it intellectually or in words, it simply means that we are trying to explain something which is absolutely unexplainable. So when one starts trying to explain it, a question arises whether that is something which can be classified. which can be quantitatively explained, or whether it has some qualities. So, as it has some qualities, then how can it become the source of everything? The only quality, the only state where one can be the originator of everything is going beyond the qualities of everything. Then only one can create anything, because if something small and big is coming from the same, it means it is dimensionless. When all the fragrances are coming from that, it means it is beyond fragrances. When all the colors are coming from that, it means it is beyond color. When all the dimensions are coming from that, it means it is beyond dimension. So it means that that is something which cannot be classified intellectually. It cannot be quantitatively or qualitatively explained. It can only be experienced and enjoyed. So that is something wonderful, and that is enlightenment. So when one attains that, then simply one starts enjoying that. That is the ultimate goal of life. When one part becomes the whole, totality, and that is the ultimate state of bliss. That is non-fluctuating state. That is the ultimate of ultimates, and it can only be enjoyed. To understand it intellectually, one can go through the Vedic literature. One can know the process how to attain that. One can go around it. But to become that, to be that, to experience that, one only will have to attain, to become in tune with that. That is the only process, the only goal, and that is something only attainable thing, which is the ultimate goal of life. And that is something one must enjoy to become bliss eternal. That eternal bliss, non-fluctuating, absolute totality, absolute enjoyment, absolute bliss.